Support for the FM show is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. And Manscaped's performance package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 8 million men worldwide, including us three, who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, our loyal listeners and viewers. If you use the code FMShow at manscaped.com, you will get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. We are so excited to have Manscaped on board as a sponsor. I've been using the products for ages. They've sent us the performance package, and it includes this, the Lawnmower 4.0. Now, I am a 43-year-old man. I manscape myself. I treat this a little bit like trying to do a football pitch. So I get stripes in there. I'm doing circles. I'm doing zigzags if I feel a bit exotic. The 4.0, the Lawnmower 4.0 features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It's waterproof, which means no more mess on the bathroom floor, and also has a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave.
Yes, they sent us the performance package. I've got the whole box, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0, but also the Weed Whacker, which cuts your hair and your nose hairs as well. So we've got that. Also, that came in the box. We've got the Crop Preserver, Ball Deodorant, and we've also got the Crop Reviver, your ball toner. Also lovely, a bit of a underrated thing that comes in this box as well. The boxers are absolutely comfortable, and you also get this nice, gorgeous travel bag with it.
That's exactly. It's a lovely, lovely looking, very classy looking travel bag there as well, isn't it? Now, I had never thought about you grooming my ear hair or nose hair, and I don't know if you have both been through this journey before. Obviously, as people can see and as viewers may know, viewers can see, as listeners may hear, I have a beard. Is basically what I'm trying to say here, and hair. Kind of nose hair kind of gets covered a bit, you know. You don't necessarily see, because of the hairs on your face, that there's nose hair growing as well. So that has.
I didn't know I had nose hair.
I'm a 43-year-old man. I know I've got nose hair, but not anymore.
This is it, and I have used it, and like, you know, it's an interesting sensation the first time using it, a little bit ticklish, but I was surprised how sort of gentle it actually was, and does feel great now that I'm sort of doing that, and then it doesn't feel something straggling out I can lift myself up to the sky with, sort of thing. And with the ear grooming too as well, genuinely does feel like, oh yeah, it's nice. It's sort of nice and clean around there. I'm not noticing hairs longer than my arm coming out of my nose too. So I've been very
freshening yourself up,
from Manscaped.
Freshening yourself up, Steve. That's what it's all about. Make yourself fresh. For example, say you're sat, I don't know, playing FM for what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever. You stand up. If you can smell yourself, that's not pleasant, is it? So I recommend a bit of that. Get the Crop Reviver on there, spray it in there, smell lovely. It's going to be beautiful. That's what we're going to be doing. So if you want to upgrade your grooming, go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping worldwide by using the code FMShow. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com by using the code FMShow. As always, use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Back to the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FM show. I am, of course, your host, Tony Jameson. And at time of recording, the clock is ticking ever closer to the release of Football Manager 24. And as you can see, joining me today, we have the dream team, RDF Tactics and producer Steve. How are we, fellas? Are we well?
I can't complain. I'm breathing thanks to trimming my nose hair with this Manscaped thing. I'm sorry.
I've just heard about that, Aaron. They've had 3 minutes of that. I get that you love it. I get you enjoy it. And I also get that you can get 20% discount if they use the code FM show. But Come on.
I'm sorry. I was just right here in front of my face as well. But, no, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm preparing for FM24, of course. So I'm still creating tactics in FM23. And then my idea, sort of theory, is that it can sort of translate with a few minor tweaks. So I'm setting my ideas, that inverted fullback idea, and then it should be easy to then transition once FM24 comes out. And all I've got to do then is just switch that role to inverted fullback or inverted wingback, whatever it is, and then hopefully it works well. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Excellent. So Aaron is looking forward to FM24. Steve, is FM23 on the horizon for you at any point?
Whoa there. Slow down there. Slow down, Tony. Let's not take things too hastily. Especially when FM22 is still going so well for me.
Of course.
In the land of Florence. And especially, very specifically, this is a question I have for you both in terms of how often, Aaron, actually, you probably, Tony, for you, how often, my last game with Fiorentina was a 4-0 win over Cagliari, so XG of 2.05, so again, clinical, that chance conversion training really working. But the thing that caught my eye was that every single player, apart from my subs, but apart from them, had +7 rating. So the lowest player I had was like 7.2. And it just struck me that like all 11 players that like being like that doesn't happen that often. Even if you have a game where you completely dominate, score really high, etc. There's always one, I don't know, an idle fullback or something who sort of, even if it's like a 6.9, and you watch the game, you go, well, they functionally did what I wanted them to. So it's a bit harsh that they've done that. But I'm just looking at the, the sort of post-match, and they're all sort of 7.2 and upwards. So a lot of them into the 8s and stuff. So that feels like it doesn't happen often, does it?
That's absolute domination, Steve. Like, I'll be honest, on my recent FM23 save, I once got beat and had a goalkeeper get an average rating of 7. And I was like, okay, he's played really well despite conceding goals. That makes no sense.
Busy boy.
Yeah, he picked those balls out really well. His distribution back to the halfway line to start the game again, exquisite.
But also, even Cagliari, they're all like, their ratings were sort of between 6 and 6.4, apart from a guy called Fiabema who'd had 5.9. But otherwise, they didn't seemingly play badly either. We were just too good. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing you were saying about you turning the screw, and this team of yours is evolving, Steve. Maybe you're now seeing the fruits of your labor and all that work you're putting in, and you're like going, "Yes, see, I told you, this is the way it's going to go."
Yeah, I think so, and I think also as well, it's the kind of, I've been focusing a lot more on, from a mentality point of view, going for positive rather than attacking. Because quite often I find for a possession-based vertical tick-attacker, if you go attacking or very attacking, etc., sometimes it gets the opposite effect because the tempo is too quick. There's too much inaccuracy. So whereas actually, and obviously if you're going behind or you're wanting to score or whatever, the temptation is to put your mentality up, right?
Yeah.
But what I've noticed actually, and it's still instinct and fighting, but if I leave it on positive, it does the sort of combinations that I want to play, and the sort of, as you say, the stretch and turn the screw is more likely to actually happen, even though it's question a bit more time. So that's something I'm sort of, remembering right now. There'll be a moment I'll forget it again and be like, attack, but like, certainly for now, it's interesting to see. So, we're still third in the table. We're still sort of, a bit behind Juventus and Inter, but things are starting to cook.
Excellent. Well, from Florence to Berwick. It's a travel show that no one's ever going to watch, really.
Anyway,
I mean, where did we leave it last week? We left it with me bringing in Italian players, wasn't it? And a bit of Italian flair, and going, this is going to be amazing at Berwick, and it's going to be superb. And I should have just stopped playing at that point, really, shouldn't I? Because who wants to take a wild guess as to how badly it went?
Wow.
Wait, hang on.
The Italianos didn't settle in?
Well, I'm not sure if it was the Italians' players' fault. What we've done is we've broken it down, into 3 key areas where things went wrong. Okay. So the players, the tactic, and the manager. So I think if we'd have fixed like one of those things, you can get away with, right? Like, you know, two of those things, you're kind of on a bit of a hiding at nothing. Three things, it's going to end badly.
Yeah.
So we flew out of the traps in pre-season. We looked incredible. We then played the Premier Sports Cup, which is like a cup that you play before you even start the league in the Scottish Championship. We smashed teams in that, and we're like, oh, hey, we might be about to finish season 25, and we're going to have sign off properly. Oh, yeah. And then we went on a 6-game losing streak, and then we didn't win for 13 games. And then eventually we won a game. We're like, hey, we've managed to plaster over some cracks here. And then we won 4 games on a bounce, and it was like, oh, okay. Wow. And then we went back to losing again. And thankfully, the board just wanted us to, you know, survive in the division. And it was like, I think we're just about doing that. Got to January, and we were slipped into the relegation playoff spots. And there's 2 relegation spots in the Scottish Championship. And I was like, oh, and the board is still like going, it's probably okay. And of course, I'm going, this is very far from okay, to be honest. Like, 'cause I'm really undoing all of my good work. Yeah. At this point, and like the idea of trying to go there to win the Scottish Championship and the SPFL Trust Trophy as well was starting to fizzle out. We got knocked out of the SPFL Trust Trophy, so I was like, right, fine, we're not going to win the championship. So I thought, do I just finish the season and finish the save on a bit of a damp squid? And that was sort of the decision I'd made. I'd signed some players in January. I was like, okay, let's just, you know, see where we go. But then the Portsmouth job came up. Okay. Now, that doesn't necessarily ring a lot of people's brains straight. Go, right, Portsmouth, fine. Okay, you've already won League 2, League 1, the Championship. What can you do with Portsmouth that you haven't done already, bearing in mind they're in League 2? Well, they were in the quarterfinals of the Papa John's Pizza Cup, and I hadn't won that yet.
Ooh.
So I thought, having turned down the national job for Australia and Greece...
Not both at the same time, crucially separate.
Separate.
Not managing Australia one game, Greece the next. No.
But you know what? Within about the space of 2 weeks of each other. And I was considering, I was like, oh, you know what, maybe. But then I was like, no, I've got to stick with just managing this challenge alone. Greece, of course, is what we're doing for FM24. When that comes out, we'll talk about that in future episodes. And I was like, oh, that's maybe a bit of like future me is turning up. So I was like, right, we're not doing Greece. We'll go to Portsmouth and we'll win the Papa John's Pizza Cup trophy, and it'll be perfect. And that's how we'll finish the save. They were 3rd in the League 2, so I was like, we might even finish the season and we'll win the title again as well, and that'd be brilliant. So three games to play before the Papa John's quarterfinal. We won those 3 games, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a thing. And 8 minutes into the quarterfinal of the Papa John's against Notts County go down to 10 men. And we've got to push on at this point. We've got it. Like, they're against the ropes. So they take the lead 1-0, of course, against the run of play. And we can't break them down, no matter what we throw at them. So we lose the quarterfinals of the Papa John's Trophy. And I retire there and then, because there's nothing to play for at that point. So the British Steel Challenge is over. 25 seasons done. We didn't complete it. We were still on stream at the time, streaming this, Tony Jameson, so twitch.tv/Tony Jameson FM, by the way. And we didn't know what to do. We had a couple of hours of the stream left. So we pivoted, that's a football term I've learned, pivoted to Axis Football 24, which is an American football game. And we had a career started on there. So I'm very much looking forward now to my new podcast, the AFM show, which is the Axis Football Manager show. Right. And we're going to do that until the beta comes out.
The FM show.
I won 3 matches, though. So I think my skill set is very much set in there.
And soccer style, arguably, in more suited for the gridiron, which I believe is another term for American.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all aboard the Philadelphia Express. That's the name of the team.
Is it?
Because it's not got real teams in it, but it's
okay. So it's like Pro Evo back in the day, where it's North London Red Bricks.
North London Red.
Yeah, so we've got like the Washington Senators. There's a team in there called the Grizzlies, the Minnesota Pride, the Houston, is it the Houston Rockets? I think that's maybe a bit too on the money.
That's a basketball team, isn't it?
So it might not have been Houston then. There was definitely a Rockets in there. But as I say, we randomized the selection because we obviously we haven't got a dog in the fight in this one. So we went, right, who we're going to pick out of these fictional American football sides, and yeah, we've done that. So FM23 is finished, Steve, is what I'm going.
Well, for some, it never began. So, yeah. The New England Tea Drinkers, is that another one that's on the AFM fake? Yeah. History buffs there for you. Too soon? No, too soon? No.
Sounds like a slur, that, don't know, the New England Tea Drinkers. Look at them.
Tea Sinkers, maybe, more to the point, for those who know you. The Tea Partiers. Anyway, that's the political party we don't want to talk about.
No, exactly.
Well, that sounds then 25 seasons, pretty much the whole FM23 cycle for you, Tony.
Yeah.
Wow. What were your would you recommend British Steel, bearing in mind that commitment, over time?
100%, I would recommend it. And what I've learned from it, and this is the interesting thing, okay? So what I struggled with was leaving clubs to go and win trophies, which sounds really stupid and obvious, but like we did it once in Northern Ireland. We got hammered 5-0 when we were at Portadown in the semi-finals of a cup by Dungannon, who were in the division above us. Dungannon's job came available, so we thought, well, hang on, should we just jump to get that job and play in the final and win the cup? And literally just turn up and tapped in the open goal. Did that, got the cup, and then just ticked it off and then left straight away. That doesn't quite work with how I play the game. I'm very much, I go for narrative and stuff, so my managerial arc was going quite nicely. But we moved to some clubs that sort of would have made no sense in my brain thinking. And then, of course, when we did what we did with Tottenham, we could have probably pushed on for another couple of seasons and maybe challenged to win the Premier League and the generic energy drink cup, which would have been two more trophies. But I was like, well, we could go back to Banbridge and try and win the Northern Irish Championship that we hadn't won and a couple of the other regional cups. So I would definitely recommend it. The easiest way of doing it, from what I've learned as well, is treat it like a glory hunter. Get to those big teams as quick as you can. We won a quadruple with Celtic. We won a treble with TNS. We won the double with Linfield. But then I was putting my own restrictions in, going, well, there's certain teams in the Premier League that I'm going to refuse to manage, so I'm making it more difficult for myself when I could have made it a little bit easier. So if you are going to do the British Steel, and we will talk about it as a possible save idea probably later on in the future when we go through save ideas, consider it. It's not for the faint-hearted. It is a bit of a slog. But yeah, the easiest way to do it, get to those big teams quick and just tick those trophies off. And it's nice to be ticking some stuff off. But there is moments when you do sit and you go, that's another 3 years without a trophy. But for me, 17 trophies out of 35, I'll take that. I would have taken that on day one if someone had offered it to me,
Because 35, that's basically, as you say, like winning trebles, quadruples, doubles, pretty much every single season. But you literally can't do it otherwise.
But you've also got the problem as well. The Charity Shield counts as a trophy. So imagine this, right? You win the league, and then the first match the following season, you've only got one trophy left to win in England, and it's the Charity Shield. You lose it, you've then got to go through another season, hope you win the league or the FA Cup to go over the Charity Shield again. Wowzers. Some of those cups in Northern Ireland are regional, so you can only certain teams can manage in them. So you can go up, and then you might have to come back down and take another team to go and win a regional cup. The SPFL Trust Trophy you can win with teams in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland. So that's really interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of
so people run, right? People run various distances for their health, etc. Some do 10Ks, some do 5Ks, half marathons, and then some people decide it's a good idea to run the entirety of the length of Snowdonia National Park, Dragon Ridge, I think it's called. Yeah. And there's also the one in the desert somewhere in North Africa. I can't remember where it is. It's Morocco, I think. That feels like that in terms of like a bit of a sucker for punishment from my perspective. Really behave, you know.
It feels like CrossFit. You could just lift weights, or you could run, or you could do it all at the same time and do some stuff upside down. Why not do that?
Well, there we go. Well, that sounds like an epic journey. And actually within that too, in terms of doing the British Steel, you also do the kind of, what's it called when you do the kind of, let's say you start off with a team in the National League, win via crucially having to win the National League rather than just get promoted. And then League 2, League 1. You could get, for example, Wrexham might be a good team to try and do that with.
Yeah.
Because they'll start off in League 2, won't they? In FM24. So you could potentially win League 2, win League 1, win the Championship, win the Premier League, etc.
Yeah. And it's just working out when to pivot as well, and looking at those jobs that are available. If you are in a season where you don't think you're going to win anything, and you're stuck in like the Championship, for example, or you're stuck in the Premier League, and you're, with all due respect, at the time I was Leeds, Sunderland, I wasn't going to win a cup or a league with those teams. So my eyes are constantly looking for, right, who's the team that's just outside of the top 6? Do they have some money? Are they going to be able to build a squad? Southampton, for example, became an established top 4 side at the time we got into our universe. So if the Southampton job came up, like, saying it now, it wouldn't make any sense, but saying it in game, when they're spending £400 million per transfer window with really top quality players, you're going, actually, if the Southampton job comes up, maybe now's the time to move to Southampton. Like, so that's what it's all about. And then again, keeping your eyes peeled, being open to new opportunities and new experiences. And as I say, I would definitely consider it for someone if they're looking for a long-term save on FM24, which of course is where we can now set our sights. And there was a final update this week. The QOL, the quality of life updates, Aaron, to whet our appetites. Wasn't there 2 blogs this time? 2.
And there's some really, really interesting stuff, obviously, which we will speak about in just a moment, but especially the match preparation as well. It's one of those things I'm just looking forward to trying out as soon as I get the new game.
So in terms of match preparation, then let's very quickly go through what the blog is talking about, because that was the one that jumped out at me as well. Because I might just need a little bit of clarification on the sort of things that I can and can't do, really. So for me, I'm interpreting this as, and if I just pull the right blog up there, because I've got part 1, we're on part 2 here. So match preparation, it says they've added this into training. So it's very, very specific match-focused sessions, which, of course, if you've got big games, I'm guessing you want to be focused on particular ways of playing. It also has an extra little nugget in there, which, of course, is only for FM24. At this time, Steve, focus on your set-piece preparation. So, for example, say you're going to play up against a team who are maybe a little bit shorter than yourselves, a little bit less physical. You might want to say, hey, you know what? Let's get the big lads up. Come on, because this is where our marginal gains are going to come. And it might not be focusing, having the ball on the floor. It might be saying, right, you're tall, get at them.
So there's 2 things that I actually like about this feature, or maybe more, but the set piece preparation. So previously, most of us, to kind of prepare set pieces, we would have to dedicate majority of our training sessions during the week to be able to prepare our set pieces for the game. But now it seems like you've got, I don't know, it seems like you can all prepare. So it says that you've got 3 things that you can prepare, 1 tactical and 2 set pieces. So now you can literally, before every game, practice your attacking corners and your defending corners. Or if you're conceding from set pieces in general, then practice defending free kicks, defending corners. Or if you're not scoring enough and you've got 2 defenders and great set piece takers, actually, why not practice more on those attacking routines? So that's really good, rather than having to dedicate most of my training sessions throughout the week on delivery and attacking and defending, that sort of stuff. That's good. But also as well, it seems like I can't imagine then match focus being there, or match tactics in FM23 before the game. So it seems like this has kind of substituted that. And now as well, it seems like you can do your match preparation in the screenshot. It's got transitional phase. So it seems like you can choose between like your attacking and defending transitional phase. Again, what are you good at? Is it attacking If you're good at attacking, then maybe you want to focus on your defending transition, or it might be opposition based. If you're playing against Manchester City, then maybe you want to practice your defending. Or if you're playing against a team that's conceding a lot on a counter attack, then you want to do your attacking transitions. So that is a really, really good addition. And like it says in the blog, it's sort of mirroring what's happening in real life and how real clubs and real managers do things. Of course, not everyone. Everyone has their own ways. But just in general, it seems like this is what's happening in real life.
And as you say, it's not just about focusing for yourself. It can be focusing on weaknesses, Steve. Yes. For example, if you know that a team are going to be vulnerable or they're going to press high, then again, that's going to allow you to change how you want to play. And that's taking it out of the tactics and training and putting it on its own screen. Steve, I think that seems like a really nice little aid memoir. Almost.
Definitely. It's also really good in terms of, it sounds like effectively your training capacity is being increased, kind of like what Aaron was talking about, because as things were before, in order to improve something, you have to take something else out, right? So if you're a team that is more technically orientated, for example, you're going to be playing your technical training. If you don't have that, then does your technical level drop because you've put a whole bunch of set pieces in there? So to be able to dedicate more time, more focused time on it, sounds like a really good improvement.
Absolutely. And I also quite like as well things which I don't think they've certainly not done or highlighted before, attribute changes for staff, Aaron. So historically we've had, again, for our listeners who've obviously been playing the game for many, many years, will be aware that your attributes for staff remain static. Now, if you're brand new to the game, they're going to change as the game progresses now. Your players, of course, will improve and decline over time, and therefore we're now expecting the same for staff. We're going to presume decline over time as well, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping they're still getting better at 60 and 70. I mean, you can gain more knowledge, but your whole overall game might start to decline as a coach or whatnot. But again, it's one of those things that you might have not know that you needed it until it's announced. You're like, oh, wait, we actually needed that in the game. And I think this is one of those sort of features that you can keep track of your own coach's development, which is exactly, again, what you want to do. And it's nice knowing that now that I'm West Ham or whoever I am, I can actually sign an up-and-coming coach. And this sounds crazy because I don't want to say it feels like what's happening to me in real life, but this feels like I'm making new connections in football and sort of stuff through what I'm doing and posting online. And it feels like I'm sort of just up-and-coming or whatever it is. And people can see the potential and actually, wait, he can actually grow. So maybe someone isn't looking to replace me, but they're looking to develop me so that I can grow. And it seems like at West Ham, I can be at, oh, this coach, he's pretty young, he's 29, he's got a few weaknesses, but it can grow. So I can bring him in rather than having to go straight to the elite coaches, pay big bucks and pay big compensation fees. Instead, now I can go for those sort of younger coaches who seem like they've got potential. And I'm hoping that your personality has a big effect. So similar to players, if you're professional and determined, then you're going to be more determined to improve. So I'm hoping that obviously reflects on the coaches as well, and staff and scouts in as well, scouts. But it's nice to know because with age, like I just touched on it, with age, your knowledge is supposed to increase. So I'm hoping that is one of those things that you will start to see increasing and increasing.
I wonder as well what they'll do, because obviously one of the things that's really lovely with FM when you get deeper into a save is that you can hire, I don't know, I remember hiring Marcelo Bielsa as a scout for a bit. He was really dumb. And he's retired, into the game from what he retired. But and so obviously there's a certain point in the game that the managers of a certain age then become scouts rather than full-time managers. So I wonder if things like, I don't know, stamina or the things that mean they don't necessarily want to manage full-time anymore but can become analysts, if that's reflected from a decline point of view. It'd be interesting to see how they manage that too. But it makes sense because, I mean, I've, longer term listeners and viewers of the show will know that I'm a big fan of staffing and getting into it. And so refining and developing that even more from a developmental point of view, basically treating your staff like players, sounds really exciting.
I think as well, it also adds, when you go and those staff go on development courses and they get their coaching badges, then it now feels like there's actually a purpose to that. I suppose, really, because otherwise it's just you're going and doing a coach, but you don't see any physical improvement. Whereas, and I don't know whether, again, I don't know whether it links to maybe you've got like an older player who you wanting to develop into a coach. They've got those staff attributes. But if there's a link there and that's the new pathway, then that
I was just getting.
I'm going to use the word game changer yet again, but that right there for those long-term saves, Steve, you've got your man. He's been there all of his career. You want to get him in to blood the youth system through or be part of the coaching staff. If you can already plot that pathway for him, yes.
I was just getting to that because I feel that previously in previous football managers tend to stay there a long time, and you can be playing there for 15 years and not. The manager world hasn't changed much. But again, in real life, and I don't know if Football Manager have done this purposefully, but you see now likes of Arteta and the Xavi Alonso's, and you kind of want to recreate that in Football Manager where they're ex-players with potential to becoming a good coach, and they can actually do that. And hopefully in Football Manager as well, some of these guys are starting their career pretty early, again, trying to replicate sort of the real life stuff. So it's nice to see that actually I could have a Xavi Alonso on our hands. Well, maybe not be nice because you're my assistant and now you're actually going to go and leave and be a head coach somewhere else. Or maybe not too nice, but again, it's just that realism. But that would feel good, right? Like I've got this assistant. We've been together for 3-4 years. He's built his game up and he's now gone on to be a coach. It's sort of your play, like you have that feeling about your players as well, that you've kind of built their career, so you've got that pride. And I think with coaches, it's going to be sort of the same as well.
Well, that's an interesting thing as well, Aaron, because they've now added manager rivalries in there. They're not added, but like because it's always been there. But now maybe it's going to be part of a bigger picture. Yeah. So you're right. So maybe the master and the apprentice can battle out. And you can play those sort of like those battles in your head. I mean, we talk about this game being the ultimate narrative tale. That could be a one to keep your eye on, isn't it? If your young coach goes to lead another team and you're battling at the top of the division or you're scrapping down at the bottom, that would be a great way of keeping track of that.
Because it's interesting though, isn't it? Because as you say, I mean, I sort of wonder IRL often what Pep Guardiola thinks about, you know, what he unleashed in Mikel Arteta.
Yeah. Because
on the one hand, he obviously benefited immensely from Arteta's tactical knowledge, etc., in the time that he was at City. And the thing is, though, I wonder then if City win those titles IRL without Arteta. Maybe not. But equally, it's kind of one of those where like Arteta clearly just went there. Obviously, a good competitive relationship. But has he basically created his own next adversary?
Yeah, maybe not for every manager, but I've got this sense with Pep Guardiola. Maybe he's got that. It's like that pride thing. I think because he feels he's contributing to football. He likes to be that sort of teacher sort of thing. But I feel maybe he's seeing it more in a positive view. Like I don't want to say he's improving football, but he's helping people in football. And that's sort of the end goal with a lot of these coaches as well. Like if you could speak to them or coaches or whatever it is, if you could speak to these managers and coaches, a lot of it is about they want to add knowledge. Obviously, they want to gain knowledge as well, but they also want to share their knowledge. Which
rising
I think
everybody up, isn't it? Like,
everybody's like, it's our game. It's not just my game. I'm not just here for myself.
A lot of managers cite Bielsa as inspiration and like, so you do get that thing. And as you say,
Derby as well. He does like seminars and things like that. So I'm guessing like they don't want to keep all their secrets, but at the same time, you don't want me to be releasing my assistant manager. The next minute, my assistant manager's gone 1-on-1 and he takes me off the top of the table. I probably don't want that happening.
I suppose also as well, it's collaborative, isn't it? In terms of like the more you have, any craft is collaborative. You have conversations with people, and it improves you as well. So it's not entirely selfless thing in terms.
Exactly.
Learning that too. Yeah,
well, I'm looking forward to FM25 when I can record my own coach's voice video. That's going to be quite nice. Let's discuss my philosophy right now. So let's just. Tony uses a 4-4-2. He is known as a dinosaur manager.
And when we talk about field tilt, this is what mine looks like.
At this point, Tony stormed out of the meeting. Game's gone, lads.
Yes.
So that's going to be in there. There's also a way of keeping track on the most titles and who's the biggest champion, of course. Another little thing that we can obviously keep tabs on, which would be quite handy if you're doing a British Steel Challenge, for example. One update which has how do I put this? Has kind of raised a bit of a tongue-in-cheek response a little bit. Is the new appearance improvements? Now, obviously, you want to make your manager look relatively similar to yourself. I presume that's how some people do it. For me, my manager avatar is a visual representation of myself. Okay, so I make sure I've got my suit on. I make sure I've got some nice shoes, a good tie, that sort of stuff. Hair's all right, beard's looking on point. Away we go. Yeah. This year, however, I don't know who asked for it, but you can have face paint now. So that's
now. I saw someone. I saw this comment on Twitter before I actually read the post. So I was like kind of laughing, but then when I read the post, so it says face gen improvements, and then instantly it says we've pushed the tech as far as it can go before our engine changed for FM25. Now automatically my head just went. So I wonder if they're doing this sort of thing, preparing us for the bigger changes in FM25, the possibilities that we can do, because everyone loves modding, right? Yeah, everyone loves it. You play like Sims, your simulation, and you could do multiple things, and I think that is maybe one way that Football Manager, not that they're trying to go so everyone's looking silly sort of thing, but you play the game how you want to play it, right? And then it's all like your content as well. I can imagine great content being made with managers looking absolutely crazy.
I'm waiting for the first person, it's Aaron, by the way, or possibly Steve if he starts making it, the first person to manage as Gunnosaurus. That's what I'm waiting for.
I do like the addition of ability aids as well, and the badges. I think that's a very, very nice touch. A very nice touch.
Absolutely. It definitely plays upon that inclusivity as well. And that will, of course, only improve and develop as well as the game goes on. So, as you say, maybe that's an FM25 thing for more ability aids added into the game. One more thing that was added, Steve. Will this whet your appetite to leave FM22 behind? Italy's lovely, but have you considered managing Gibraltar before?
No, shockingly.
Well, now you can.
Oh, here we go. Right. Well, the Gibraltar League. Gibraltar is a rock
I've got a team,
off the edge of Spain.
Lincoln Red Imps, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, wait, see, Football Manager teaches you knowledge. I only know that about that because of the qualifying stages in the game. The first time I saw it, wait, that's not Lincoln.
Tom FM's going, oh, hang on.
Okay, so there are 32,000 people that live on the overseas territory of Gibraltar, right? British overseas territory, captured from the Spanish in 1704, still a point of contention to this day. Very strange thing when you go to the southern coast of Spain, and there's a land connection from memory, and it's like you suddenly then see post offices and the sort of red phone boxes and stuff. It's and obviously they had a very complicated time after Brexit, of course. So that's Gibraltar. So 32,000 people on the entirety of the territory. So the Football League was founded in 2019, so it's really new. So they're sort of up in the. Oh, that's great. Do you guys know what the domestic cup is called? No, look, don't Google it. Don't Google it. I want to guess
I'm not as good. Don't
Google it.
You laughed first.
Stop
you laughed first. I'm now waiting.
Is it the Gibraltar Cup?
No. Good solid guess.
G-Ball.
No. No. It's not a bowl, but yes, yeah.
Is it the FM Show Trophy?
No. It is. It was founded though in 1895. So the league itself, the brand new league that you can now play on FN24, is 2019. The cup on Gibraltar. Oh no, it's got. Oh, this is great. Okay, anyway, Aaron, what's your guess? Because there's multiple names. It goes by many names.
Many names? This isn't fair.
Yeah, that's.
Well, no, surely it is, because it means that you've got more chance of being right because there's more than one answer.
The Football Cup.
No.
Oh, the Rumbelows Cup.
No sponsorship. It's no sponsorship.
Oh, no sponsorship. I
mean, it is sponsored, but it's not. It's not the Gibraltar Cup. It's not the Gibraltar FA Cup.
The Dead Good Shield.
No.
The We Play Nicely Award.
Okay, all right. I'm going to end this now. Yeah, right. So, the Rock Cup.
If you smell.
Bear in mind.
That's why the mods are coming, because next year's game you can dress like a wrestler.
Well, it's quite a long way away. I'm not sure we're going to be able to smell what they're cooking up there.
Go back.
It
doesn't matter. I'm going to put this player as people's elbow. That's what. Player traits. Get the crowd going. If you smell. It's the most electrifying trophy in all of entertainment.
Just tell at the press conference. Do your team deserve to win? What do you think, you jabroni?
Are you happy to be here? It doesn't matter whether I'm happy to be here.
Who are the reigning holders of the Rock Cup? It doesn't matter. Okay. Children.
You started it, Steve.
That's true.
Put the Gibraltar national flag for WrestleMania days.
I feel like I've lost control at the moment.
Anyway, it's crazy. One of my guesses was going to be WWE, but I was thinking there's only WWE and WWF, and I was like,
I feel like we've just announced the community challenge. I'm not going to lie.
Anyway, okay, so crucially, Gibraltar is the Rock, but not that Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, because Gibraltar is also sort of colloquially known as the Rock, hence Rock Cup. It does have another name, which is what it sort of originally was called back in 1894-95 when it was announced, the Senior Merchants Cup.
God, that's let me down. Funny, is it? No. I was waiting for the Stone Cold Cup or something. I can see why they changed it. I
think we need to remarket this. The Rock's popular, isn't it?
Oh my God.
And then, so the winner of the 2014... so the 2014 Rock Cup got Europa League football for the first time. So if you win the Rock Cup, you get into the Europa League.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. But then... Oh, no, hang on. No, this is just basically the dominant team in the Gibraltar Football League are the Lincoln Red Imps, which is confusing because Lincoln, obviously on mainland England... their nickname is the Imps, and that's because, and I know this because a couple of months ago I visited Lincoln Cathedral in obviously Lincoln, beautiful part. That part of Lincoln's lovely, the rest not so much. But the old town is lovely. At the top of the hill.
One thing I went to, amazing.
No, genuinely, you park up near Lincoln Castle. You're in the old town. It's gorgeous. You go down the hill. But so Lincoln, the football club in England are called the Imps because the Lincoln Imp was kind of like a devilish figure that was carved into the cathedral right at the top and was only like properly revealed like in the past few decades when they had proper lighting. Mm-hmm. And so when they built the cathedral, like however many centuries ago, basically the carvers sort of took the piss a little bit and just carved this sort of devilish figure in this sort of religious building. Wow. And so since then, the football team's been known as the Imps. And for some reason, the most successful team in Gibraltar's history are known as the Lincoln Red Imps as well.
Okay, so the plan is to overthrow the Imps, become the top team in Gibraltar, become the people's champions. The teams that you've got to pick from include Bruno's Magpies.
No way.
College 1975, Europa FC, Europa Point. That's the point. That's the point to the sign, isn't it? Glacis United, the Lincoln Red Imps, Lions Gibraltar, Lynx, Manchester 62, Mons Calp, and St Joseph's.
Amazing.
So
that's amazing.
Also, as well, Lincoln Red Imps Football Club play in the Victoria Stadium, which they share with every other club on the territory. So the entire league, there's no away fixture because they're all amazing. At home all the time. I suppose technically speaking, there will be an away team and they just swap dressing rooms. But every single match in the Gibraltar's Football League is played in the Victoria Stadium.
That is mental.
This is amazing. Right? Okay, Steve. We joked at first, going, "Could we tempt you with Gibraltar?" Now the question is, which team are you managing in Gibraltar? That's the question. Right?
Well, I'm just having a quick look. I'm looking at the actual national team, and there's two players at the age of 40 or over, and they both play for Lincoln. So no wonder kids saving Jabal. It seems like so it could be a place to go and retire for many people.
For veterans, yeah.
There's 11 teams in the league. There's not even an even number of teams in the
league. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Lincoln Red actually. Here's me talking and surprised like I know the league, and I'm like, they're fifth. That's surprising.
Well, yeah. And do you know why that's surprising?
Oh, they've fallen off a little bit, haven't they?
Rebuild.
Gibraltar League rebuild. So this team have struggled historically because they were only founded last week.
Wow.
Although I'm not entirely sure rebuilding Gibraltar is the tag you want to put on a video on YouTube.
Do you know? You're right though, Aaron. It is a shock because the Lincoln Red Imps have won 27 league titles, most successful team. And there was a period between 2003 and 2016 when they won 14 consecutive titles. 14.
Wow. I mean, I'm just putting out there, Europa Points badge has a lighthouse on it. So just...
Good reason as any to choose them, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So get in touch and let us know which Gibraltar team you're going to be. St. Joseph's looks like a school team, actually. I've just seen the St. Joseph's badge. And it generally looks like that they're going to compete against the under-13s.
Ooh. Okay.
Fantastic.
I love the Wikipedia page for the Gibraltar Football League as well, which says rumours of the new league began in 2018, as if they're like whispers on the island.
Yeah, just go. What are they all doing playing on that football pitch? Are they starting a league?
This is very structured.
They're there every single Saturday. Every Saturday, they've got officials and everything.
Rumours.
Just postering fixture lists against lampposts and nobody knows.
In the shadows. Late at night.
Yeah. What's the Lynx? What's the Lynx Ultras? Is this, people sponsored by deodorant?
Well, I guess the good thing out of all of this is that obviously now I think some people will try to build a nation rather than rebuild, but they will try and rebuild a nation. If you don't know what that is, go and check out the second Yellow Card episode. And I think that's going to bring some attention to the league, which I think is a good thing for the league as well. But also content-wise, I think it's a good addition. It is a good addition. I do think people will use it simply because of the challenge, and I recommend some people to try it out.
Absolutely, bring your Gibraltar Wonder Kids to Discord. Come and show us what you've got.
It's too much. It's too.
Right.
It's too close.
I think we need to slightly move away from this now. We've all got ourselves a little bit giddy.
So we'll take a moment.
Aaron and I are booking flights to Gibraltar going, let's go on a scouting mission, right? Like, I know Aaron's making some connections in the real world, but it's like, oh, hello, Gibraltar Football Association.
But also as well, one more thing. I know I'm derailing myself here now, but because also, obviously, Gibraltar is famous for its, I think they're called macaques. You know, the monkeys?
Yeah.
Oh.
Gibraltar.
Compared to meerkat.com.
Don't go to that. They're a form of... I want to say, Barbary macaques in Gibraltar. Oh. They're originally from the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. Basically, there's a family of 70-odd individuals. No, hang on. No, wait. 300 monkeys occupy Gibraltar. So it's possible that your fans could also be monkeys. I don't know if they get down to the stadium, but there you go. That's not
soccer. Why is it? It's normally me that derails it with the most ridiculous thing. Oh yeah, and just in case you're wondering, you don't actually make any money on the ticket because most of the people that come are wildlife.
Anyway, sorry, Tony. You.
Yeah.
Oh, because you mentioned monkeys. I was just in my head. I'm just walking. I'm just picturing of someone walking when a monkey just walking alongside each other like it's just normal. It's a film.
They'll chase you for food and for water. And I was in Bali once, and we went to this temple sanctuary monkey sanctuary in the Bud, and I saw a monkey steal someone's bottle of water, unscrew it, and then drink from it.
That would scare me because that's just too much like me. So that would just scare me.
Could we, stick with me on this one, could we find 22 monkeys, give them little football kits and make them mascots for the day? And
feel like...
Obviously the attendance would go down. But
yes. There would be some animal rights concerns as well, I think. But, not great for the pitch as well if you've got monkeys doing the business or whatever the pitch is, especially because in the Gibraltar's Football League, every other team uses it. Yeah. Therefore, the next team would turn up and be like, monkey poo everywhere.
Do they run Right, okay, I've just thought about this for a second, okay. How do they run the fixture list then? Because if every club uses the same stadium, do you kick off at 9 o'clock and one of the teams kicks off at 11:30 at night? Because the games have ran all through the match. So you actually have an advantage by starting at 8 a.m. because the pitch is nice. I mean, it's
when you come to the so much like Sunday League to me.
When you come to the late night kickoff and the game, and it's had 9 matches on the pitch already, you're like, God, bloody turned all over the place.
Bloody Lincoln imps again.
Those pesky imps. Just getting managers going, oh yeah, we always get the late kickoff. This is not fair, is it? After the international break.
Okay, so as you say, 11 teams. So actually, yeah, does that mean every weekend one team has a weekend off?
That's what rest means. Got it.
Hang on.
I'd like to see as well. I'd like to see pitch condition, and it starts going great, but then like 3 games in, appalling.
Yeah.
Wait.
Unless it's turf, maybe they do like a synthetic pitch. Possibly that would be.
So listeners will remember good few months ago now. Actually, we spoke about the Brazilian league. Was it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a question of like you have the league table. That's it. In the Gibraltar's Football League, okay? 11 teams. Top 6 go into the Championship group.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go into the Challenge group. Which, just looking at it off the top of my head here, I don't know what happens. I don't know why they do. They go into separate groups. They... then do something else. Then there's a separate group of 6, and if you finish top of that, you then are champions. So again, 11-team table is not enough. You then go into a second table. Why is the league system just not enough for some countries, right? Why is it not just you play each other twice, and then that's it? Especially when you've already got the Rock Cup as well.
And the Pepe Reyes Cup, which is the Super Cup over there.
Okay.
Named after an artist.
All right. That's enough of that. Come on. Right. Let's just...
I think we're all on board. Now. Okay. And you need to make sure that you're all on board. Okay. Because we're going to be talking about this a lot going forward. Okay. We were all really excited about the J League. Now that just seems really blasé. Don't it? Just like, oh, J League's really exciting. Yeah, but there's 11 teams in Gibraltar. Right. So, if that has whetted your appetite for more FM Show, please remember
50 minutes to whet your appetite.
Please remember to subscribe to the podcast, leave us a 5-star review if you'd like, and a little comment as to whereabouts you're going to be managing as the seasons progress on FM24. Of course, drop us some correspondence via Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Join the Discord. We are the FM Show Pod. Of course, you can also follow us on YouTube and subscribe there. You can send us an email to the FM Show Pod. That's the FM Show Pod at gmail.com. And we have a Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is a way of supporting us as a podcast if you can afford it. And in return, we will give you some exclusive bonus content, early access to these public episodes, both video and audio. You get a private Discord channel as well. Some tiers, of course, we can even fix your tactic for you. And you can join from as little as £3 per month. To sign up, visit patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. And you can become a member of the squad, just like Ben Thompson did this week. So thank you, of course, to Ben and to everyone else who has signed up to Patreon. Your support, of course, means the world to us. We've got a live show coming up on Monday, the 6th of November in Nottingham at the Canal House. It's part of the Nottingham Comedy Festival. If you're interested in coming to see the FM show live, seeing myself, seeing producer Steve, seeing RDF Tactics in person, then there's a ticket link in the description below. The tickets are priced at £5. Come and see the show. Come and hang out afterwards. We'll do a bit of a meet and greet. We'll do a bit of a chat. We'll talk FM. Bring your stories. Bring Matt Doherty if you can. But yeah, Monday the 6th of November, the Canal House in Nottingham, £5. Ticket link in the description below. Get your tickets. Come and hang out. It's going to be fantastic. Now, we have teased this for a few weeks, but I think it's now time to attempt to dive in and define the FM commandments, Steve. Now, we said 10, but we struggled really with 10. Well, we went big, and then we pulled them back to ones that probably are less contentious, because I'm going to put it out here right now, okay? And I feel as though it's important for me to say this personally to myself so that I understand it and that I accept what I'm about to say. The ultimate overarching golden rule in all of FM and sports entertainment is: thou shalt play the game however thou feelst it should be played, because it is your game and nobody else's.
Absolutely. It's actually very important, because a lot of the times people can influence others on how to play the game or make them feel a certain way that they're not playing it properly or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It is really important for you to enjoy the game. And I've learned this over the years myself. Whenever I play the game, I literally don't listen to anyone else. I just play it how I like to play it. That is very important. So when you play Football Manager, just remember it's a game and enjoy it.
100%. However, there are some absolute cardinal sins, aren't there, Father Producer Steve?
There are. And just to reiterate, the point you both made there, though, as has been said before, this game shouldeth be fun. Forsooth, thou shalt have fun when thou plays Football Managereth. That being said,
the golden rule that you should not. Like, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having or how sad the save becomes. Thou shalt not save scum at all. It cannot be condoned, can it, Steve?
It cannot. It cannot under any circumstance. It's only yourself you're hurting. It's only yourself you're hurting. You won't learn if sometimes bad things happen in life. Sometimes bad things happen in life, and you can't reset when they happen. So. And to those of you who say, well, this is a game about escapism, so why the hell can't I? Well, boo.
Yeah, it's escapism enough. Your manager's got face paint on. You can't replay that cup draw or that match, right?
Exactly, yeah. But what I will say to those who do want to save scum is that you can absolutely learn from losing. It's how many people learn. You learn from your mistakes. Now, okay, I was young and new to Football Manager before. I've saved scum before. Every time you do that, you literally don't learn why you're losing in the first place. So, you might save scum a few times, and then you don't want it to be repetitive and you keep doing it throughout the whole season. There's going to be a point where you want to turn around and be like, look, I just want to play the game through. If I lose, I lose. But that can also go towards some content. Well, you don't have to be a content creator, but you know what I mean? When you get to the second season, that second season might then feel amazing because of all the things that you went through in your first season.
I think it's content. Always business with you, Aaron, isn't it?
I'm just reading through this list. I think it is important to say that this list has been put together, and we have all probably done this at one point in our FM careers.
Absolutely.
I've been 30 years on this game. Aaron's probably not too far behind. Steve's probably not too far behind. So we were all young and naive once, right?
None of us are free from sin, Tony.
We have all exactly. That's the thing. None of us are free, but we have seen the light and we've learned. Okay,
yes.
So thou shalt not save scum. Okay, definition for that, if you don't know what save scumming is, saving it, reloading it, and going, I don't like that outcome. I will go again. Not allowed.
No. Now these are not in any. So that is the number one.
Yeah.
In terms of the biggest sin that you should not do. These going forward are in no particular order, and that's mainly because we all just then whack them onto the script. So these are the ones I sort of thought of first, and then Aaron and Tony will bring theirs in too. But no, there's not. These are not like the second most important, third, etc. Just the random thoughts from our brains. So next one on our FM commandments list: do not sign a player when you know that they won't play for you. And this can be because you've either, you know that your registration level means that they're not going to play for 6 months. So they're just going to sit there wasting away. Or you don't need them. You're just going for the opportunity. You've got the spare budget. You realistically don't need them, though. So do not sign a player when you know they're not going to play for you because you're only ruining their career. You might sully the atmosphere of the crowd. Yeah. You're wasting money as well, really. You don't need that player.
Absolutely. I agree with that one. Mm-hmm. Do not use AI to aid you in FM playing or poetry, as someone did with their poetry last week. Amazing poem until we learned who wrote it.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I haven't tried this out, but I imagine if you were to use ChatGPT to say, make me the perfect FM24 433 tactic or whatever, it would suggest something to help you. Don't.
Yeah. And one reason why you don't do that is because chat or the AI might not actually know what you've got within your squad. So maybe you might type in, oh yeah, I want a 4-3-3, perfect gegenpressing, and he's gone for 2 wing backs on support, and then you go to your squad and you've got no one that can actually run with the ball because a wing back is going to run wide. So you've got no fullback that can dribble. Your fullback's got poor off the ball movements, and already that could just crumble your tactic, and then you're going to go back to chat and then complain to the chat. But it's not the chat's fault, it's your fault for going to the chat in the first place.
And also, you don't have to rely on AI to cheat. You can cheat as a human, and you should not do that. Do not add a shadow manager. Do not add another manager and go, oh, I'm trying to buy this player and I can't get him, but I need him in my squad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another team, sell a player for a pittance, sometimes not even that. Sometimes they'll release a player and go, oh, I'll have them on a free transfer and I'll get rid of all their best players and I'll start and I'll hoover them all up. And then that team's just left to rot. Do not do that.
Quite upset you add that one to the list because that used to be my favourite cheat, if I'm honest.
And that's why.
FDR
I remember when it started. Was it Champ 4? When Wayne Rooney was like the unprotected contract thing, but he didn't want us leaving. Yeah. And so I always, every game, I will go to Everton, go to Rooney, release straight away. That was my favourite thing. Or just go to the youth squad and go buy Justin Hoyt for 50 million.
This is why
Christopher Ray has made a world record transfer to Real Madrid.
I did. It's probably where FM08, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I was Barcelona and I had Thierry Henry, and in a way I couldn't control. He wouldn't sign a new contract, etc. Inter Milan bought him, or had him on a free agreement or whatever. So I did then become Inter Milan manager and cancel the transfer because I was like, because Thierry Henry on that game was just
such a great cheat.
Yeah, just a cheat code, right? And it was 2D signal, 2D map, and you just see this dot doing ridiculous things.
Just running.
Yeah. So I couldn't, and also obviously, his exit real life from Arsenal was still pretty raw. So back then I just couldn't. But no shadow managers. Don't do it.
Oh, what else have we got on the list then, Steve?
So these next ones are kind of, as we said, if you lose, you learn. And part of the fun of this game is, I remember actually in the first season of Fiorentina, I think I've said this before, but the first half of the season, we were not converting chances really well, and the midfield was just an empty space. And I was playing a 4-2-3-1, and I was thinking, am I actually going to get sacked here? And so having that winter break, as you do in Italy and other European leagues, and having discussions at the time with people from SI about the data hub, and looking at figuring out the problem and solving it, felt amazing. Even though the initial feeling of this is terrible, you learn that learning process. It's a bit longer term, but it is amazing. So that is kind of the fundamental point of some of those early ones here. And And again, when it comes to saves coming, when it comes to this sort of stuff, if you do, don't do it, and especially don't do it if you then brag about winning this, winning that, unbeaten, all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Equally, no bragging if you've won with PSG, with Real Madrid, with Liverpool, with Man City,
any of the top teams,
of the top teams, because it's like, yeah, well done.
Side
Especially
note, Side note: this doesn't apply to you if you are very, very new to Football Manager, because Football Manager can be a daunting place as well. So winning games actually is kind of like, oh, okay, I can kind of get used to everything else. But if you're an experienced player, I'm talking at least 2 years is enough for me now. At least 2-3 years of playing experience on Football Manager. Yeah, bragging about winning stuff with those teams can be a bit. But did you win it, or did individual brilliance win it? Now again, go on. Sorry,
I was going to say, I think you're right. I think if you are brand new, these are great teams to practice the game with and learn how the game works.
Yeah,
but I think if you're brand new, you're not then bragging like, oh yeah, I won the Champions League with Liverpool and Man City and Real Madrid, like, because you're going, well, yeah, you would do, like, even I could probably get to the quarterfinals with those teams. Like, that's how easy those teams are going to be. I might not win the title with them, but
because I was going to say, like, I'm not like, you don't pick these teams and it's just like, okay, with PSG, it is kind of automatic wins. It is kind of automatic, but you can still lose. But I just feel as experienced Football Manager players, we've got that sort of know-how. We sort of know how things work. By advance forward, Mbappe advance forward, guaranteed 30, 40 goals already, sort of thing. Yeah. We kind of know. Now, you can have some pride if you've set yourself a challenge. So like a few years ago, as Manchester United, okay, so the first few years, you don't really take notice, but it was a youth challenge where I couldn't buy any players. So everything had to just come from the youth team and the reserve. So it actually got to a point where we're not that elite Man United anymore. We're just kind of we're still a very good team. Don't get me wrong. We still got Martial and Rashford, but we don't have those centre-backs now with 17 heading, 17 marking and stuff, because now they're becoming youth players. You still get that pride, but again, at the same time, I still want a celebrating, because at the same time, I know just the fact that you're Manchester United, being an elite team holds so much weight.
I think you're right. And like, obviously, we don't want to put anybody off playing. And those big teams are there for a reason, because, they're popular and people do support them. So that's fine. Like, if it's your club, support that club. Absolutely. Learn how to use the game. Learn these new roles. I mean, it's very, very obvious that the John Stones role is designed to be used at Man City, because John Stones plays for Man City.
Exactly.
So learn those roles there. However, I am going to add an addendum to this, Aaron, and this is one that is in your wheelhouse here, okay?
My business is shutting down now.
Not brag that you have used downloaded tactics and only bought Wonder Kids, right? Because, and you've touched upon it ever so briefly already, Aaron, a tactic that you have created, sir, right, works specifically for one team. It might work in other teams, but it's designed specifically for certain players to work in a certain system. We joked when we spoke with Stinger in a couple of episodes ago about the potential that plug and play might be getting phased out now with the way that these tactics are working. So, unfortunately, downloading awesome super win tactic might not work. And if it does work, don't tell everyone that that's what you've used, right? Okay.
Now, I must stress as well. Because obviously I do share downloadable tactics. So people could be looking like, are you going to take this from him, Marty? Are you going to take this from him? I must stress though, a lot of my videos are around that 15 to 20 minute mark. It's not strictly about downloading the tactic. Now, I will give you the tactic at all times. That's sort of the bonus, but my content is always about you sort of learning, or you're taking things like, overload on the right-hand side, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about it, but you can't say it in your tactic, and you're looking at mine to go, okay, that's maybe why that player's moved and he hasn't moved, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily brag. I wouldn't accept your bragging if you came to me like, I won this and that with your tactic. I'm like, yeah, that's my tactic, so I won it. With my medal.
Use the tactic as a basis, of course. Again, if you're brand new to the game, Aaron's tactics are incredible. Go and check those out. Plug them in and go, this is kind of how I want to play. Look at how Aaron teaches you how to play the game.
Exactly, yeah.
Put the tactic in and then go, okay, cool, it works for that team. Yeah. Can I do something similar in a different team and take that knowledge further? Don't just let Aaron do it all for you.
And one of the kids is similar as well. I mean, you can't brag about winning something with one of the kids that we all know about, Karim Adeyemi, Yusuf Magoku. Like, these guys, we all know they're going to be, they're not technically one of the kids anymore, they're elite players. Now, we're not saying don't celebrate if you win anything with kids. If you do it with kids that you haven't signed before, that's one of my favourite things of playing Football Manager. Every time we start a new save, I haven't tried him out before, or I haven't signed him. I've seen him on last game, I thought about it, but now I'm actually might go for him as well. Rather than buying a Rocco Simic today, a Rocco Simic tomorrow, a Rocco Simic again in the next save, that's when it gets a bit too much.
Absolutely. Steve, we've got 2 more. I think we'll rattle through. There's so many more on the list, but I reckon if we do 2 more, possibly.
Well, this episode, Tony, I reckon mainly because we wanged on about the Gibraltar League for too long.
We have promoted the Gibraltar League. We haven't wanged on
the League of Gibraltar. We're a bit tight for time now in terms of finishing this episode, so we're going to do a couple of more of these commandments and do the rest next episode, as well as some of the correspondence we have planned.
And some reaction to what we've said as well next week.
There you go. So, yes, a couple more, and then we're going to say goodbye. But, so what is our next one, Tony?
The next one's one that I wrote, and again, it's a contentious one. Thou shalt not refer to a player's attributes as stats. It is not called stat masking.
Yeah. Stat masking.
I know we've all done it.
But it is though. So that wasn't a thing for me. Now it's more of a thing because Twitch, right? People come, check this person's stats. So I'll go to that person's stats, but now I'm in my analytical head. I'm going to his stats. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got 10 goals in 30 games. They're like, no. I'm like, you mean the attributes? They're not the stats. Don't call attributes stats. That's a no, though.
Absolute nitpicky ones at this point. I just thought I'd see if I could slip that one in, see if anybody notices.
And thou shalt not ask who to sign. That's what your scouts. Absolutely. That is, I don't like that. Like when people are asking, who should I sign? Like, let's be honest. You've got the world's greatest scouting tool already. Football Manager, use it. Don't go asking people who to sign. Just trust your scouts, because again, you're wasting money if you're asking me who to sign and not scout. You're wasting money because you're not paying me. But just trust the game a little bit more and be more immersive in the game rather than finding that player that you know which is always going to do well, that sort of guaranteed player. Rocco Simic. Let me just sign in because I know he's going to score goals anyway. But sort of not ask for people. Consider your team, consider your tactic, what your tactic needs, and then start looking for those specific players rather than I'm playing the Gegenpress, but I'm going to sign him because RDF said so, and I'm going to sign him because Tony said so.
Yeah. And again,
is this a commandment, Aaron, or is this just a request for you to get less of this sort of
Stop writing questions to me. No, the thing is though, like Aaron's right. Like, you have the greatest scouting tool in front of you. Okay, you've got Football Manager. The database is so expansive. Okay?
Yeah.
There's loads of little tips to find players. Like, I play with attribute masking turned on, so I'm making the game more difficult for myself. Turn the attribute masking off. Okay, if you're brand new to the game, or if that's how you want to play it, you can see every player's attributes. You can search by attribute. You can search, as we've mentioned in previous episodes. We will do more upon this as the game comes out, of course. But you can search by player style. So if you've got a player that you want to replace, and your left winger, for example, is getting old, you go into your team and you go, find similar player. You're literally finding a like for like, or as close to like for like as you can, replacement of a player that you already have. Or, of course, the Steam workshops have loads of people making views that help, that you can add stuff in. There's loads of third-party stuff, which is really, really good, that helps with scouting. But that is a discussion for another day. And I think we've probably offered out enough commandments at this time, Steve. And I think
for this episode, we've got more for next one.
Yeah,
we'll hold some more back because I feel like there may well be reactions to some of those.
Exactly.
The next one the one I just saw for next week's episode as well is actually amazing as well. Oh my god!
Stop it!
Save it for next week. And if you want to get in touch with any more commandments that you have for us, send us an email at the FM Show Pod. That is the FM Show Pod at gmail.com. Of course, react to what we said today via TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Discord. Of course, it is the FM Show Pod. Let us know which team in the Gibraltar Premier League you'll be supporting and managing next season. And that was episode 13 of the FM show, hosted by myself, Tony Jameson. Our co-host was RDF Tactics, aka Aaron Falloon. Our producer is producer Steve Hankey. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.